For years, national Democrat politicians have bashed on billionaires, saying that we need to tax them more. And they painted Republicans as the party of rich. But all it took was one fatally flawed tax hike measure here in California to reveal the truth. Coming up, how the billionaires tax unmasked California Democrat politicians as the party of the rich. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California and a California state representative. And oh my goodness, the truth has finally come out into the open. Democrat politicians have spent years, decades, bashing on the rich, saying that the rich need to pay more in taxes. And by the way, Republicans are the party of the millionaires and the billionaires. And all it took was a fatally flawed tax hike measure that was recently introduced here in California to expose the real truth. I'm talking about the California Billionaires tax. And it is a measure that's on the street right now that liberals are backing, activist, far left groups, and a variety of labor union bosses are funding a signature drive to put a billionaires tax on the ballot in this November's election. But Democrat politicians are lining up to oppose this measure, and behind closed doors, all the Democrats are threatening the backers of the billionaires tax. You better back down if you know what's good for you. What it reveals, if you know what's good for you, what it reveals is the truth. The Democrats have become the party of the billionaires and the millionaires, while Republicans are fighting for the little guy. I've got the receipts to prove it all, and we're going to discuss it. And I need to make sure that you share this video with all your Democrat friends and all your independent friends, because they've heard the false narrative that somehow Republicans are defending the rich and it's the Democrats that are the party of the little guy. No, in fact, it's quite reverse. Like this video, help us spread the word. And by the way, 84% of you are not subscribed to this channel, so please smash that subscription button so you're updated every day that we put a new episode up of Reform California with Carl DeMaio. Also, we are fighting tax hikes here in California through the Save Prop 13 initiative that we're putting on the ballot. If you haven't signed the Save Prop 13 initiative yet, please go to the website opposetaxhikes.org, opposetaxhikes.org. Click on that sign button, print and sign the Save Prop 13 petition. You have to download it, print it, sign it with a pen, and then mail it back to our campaign headquarters. Also, if you can, please chip in a contribution as we're fighting tax hikes and can only do this with your support. Let me tell you about the billionaires tax. So the billionaires tax is an initiative that labor unions and some of these far left groups have drafted to impose a one-time, they call it a one-time, wealth tax, equity tax on any billionaire. And it's basically a massive percentage that they're going to take right off the top. They say it's one time, but it's not. As soon as you create a wealth tax, it's like a new form of taxation. Remember in the 1910s, when the federal government created, through a constitutional amendment, an income tax? At the time, they sold the income tax as only for the rich. Only people paying an income tax are the very, very wealthy. The top 0.01% would be the only ones impacted by an income tax. How has evolution treated that idea? All of us are now being smacked by an income tax at the federal level and the state level. It's the biggest form of taxation that we have. It went from being something that's targeting the very super rich to, yep, everyone gets smacked by it. And if you listen to Democrats, the rich don't pay income taxes anymore. It's all of us little folk that are getting hit. So the billionaire tax, I oppose because I oppose all tax increases. I oppose gas tax increases, sales tax increases, and a billionaire tax, and everyone in between. Here's why. Government already has too much money. There's too much waste, fraud, and abuse. Cut the budget. Clean up the waste, fraud, and abuse, and there's more than enough money to fund priorities for all Californians. We don't need to make things more expensive to live in California. We don't need to punish people so that they basically take their income and their wealth and go to another state. That's why I oppose every form of tax increase, not just the billionaire tax. And herein lies the difference between myself and Republicans and the Democrats. More on that in a moment. But the billionaire tax is potentially going to be on the ballot, and it actually is retroactive. And so a bunch of billionaires said, well, if you do this, we're leaving. Here's a headline from Fox Business. Billionaires flee California within 7 days over a proposed wealth tax. This is the first week of the year, and a bunch of billionaires are already moving to Florida. And this is a real estate broker who says he's working directly with 3 billionaires moving from California to the state of Florida. Now, when a billionaire leaves the state of California because they're threatened by a billionaire's tax, whether or not it passes, all future income tax revenues, all capital gains tax revenues from that individual go to the other state now that they're a resident of that state. So this billionaire's tax is already going to crush and punish California because we're going to lose revenue. In fact, Fox News has this story out. California's looming capital flight could reshape state in 3 key areas. Basically says, yeah, this one-time 5% rake on all these high wealth individuals, if those people, even a couple of them, leave the state of California, California is going to lose a bunch of revenue. In fact, the top 1% of California income tax filers contribute a third, 38%, more than a third, almost 40%, of the entire income tax revenue for the state of California. This is insanity. You lose a couple of these top 1%ers, and the state will have an even more significant budget deficit, which means that working folk will have to shoulder more of the burden or do with less services. This is insanity. But of course, Democrats don't care about that. They just like the talking points of, we're going after the billionaires. No, what you're literally doing is you're chasing people out who can contribute, and you're then pushing the burden onto working folk. But no one in the liberal media wants to unmask that. No. They have Democrats to help elect. Got to protect our Democrat friends. And in fact, the entire field of Democrats are opposed now to the billionaires tax. Here's a headline from New York Times and New York Slimes. Newsom vows to stop proposed billionaires tax in California. So Gavin Newsom, running for president, needs the billionaires to cut the campaign contribution checks. Oh, this is going to be a continuing theme. The billionaires funding his campaign for president don't want a billionaires tax, so he's sucking up to them by saying, I'm going to oppose a tax. I mean, think about it. Newsom opposing a tax increase? That's like the devil opposing sin. But he is. Not just in name only. He is threatening the backers of the initiative. They better back down, not jam him up as he's running for president if they know what's good for them. Then in the governor's race, here is Politico, governor's field not buying the wealth tax. Look at that monster. Katie Porter, she's up there. And if any candidate is out there talking about tax the billionaires, she is the AOC Bernie Sanders candidate of this race. She's made her claim to fame saying that she wants to tax corporations and Wall Street hedge funds and billionaires. She says she's against it, as is all the Democrat field running. Antonio Villaraigosa, Xavier Becerra, Ian Calderon, all opposed to the tax hike. But what are they supporting? They're supporting income tax extensions, income tax increase extensions. They are supporting gas tax increases. They support mileage taxes. They support property transfer taxes. They support any tax or fee on the little guy. Sales taxes, they're panting in heat to support those. All around the state of California, Democrat politicians, including Gavin Newsom, supporting sales tax increases. Newsom just signed a bill into place making it easier for sales tax increases to be enacted throughout the state of California. So they are literally raising taxes on working families. They're okay with raising taxes on the little guy while shielding their billionaire campaign backers from a wealth tax. Again, just because they're right in opposing a billionaire's tax doesn't make them right for the right reason. It means that they are still wrong because they are fundamentally corrupt. They are only opposing that money grab simply because they want more money from the billionaires than what little guys, working families, the middle class gives them. It doesn't make them principled or right. It makes them, well, a scam artist. They're out there preaching that they want to go after billionaires and millionaires. When given an opportunity, they bow down and protect the billionaires. Funny how that works. But you know who they are taxing? Sales tax, gas tax, energy tax, utility tax, mileage tax, income tax extensions. That's right. They're taxing you. They're taxing the middle class. They're making it harder for the middle class to make ends meet. But you will never hear this explanation of what just happened here in California on a simple proposal. All it took was the far left progressive gaggle of groups backing a billionaire's tax. All it took was them filing this initiative to have it expose the rot, the big lie of the Democrat Party on the issue of taxation. Taxing the millionaires and billionaires, not the little guys. No, actually, quite the opposite. Again, as a Republican, I don't care who you're trying to increase taxes on. I'm opposed. Fundamentally, full stop, no. Because it's called a principled position. Therein lies the difference. I don't believe that we should weaponize government against one group by using the masses. Because guess what? You embrace that philosophy, they're going to come for you eventually. They're going to raise your taxes. Politicians always have this knack for dividing us and then pitting small groups against each other. The mob mentality. And ultimately, they go after everyone. Look, at Reform California, we're gearing up to fight these taxes, but we need your help. So go to the website, reformcalifornia.org, chip in a contribution. As I mentioned, if you haven't signed the Save Prop 13 initiative yet, please download, print it, sign it, and mail it back in by going to the website opposetaxhikes.org. Until next time, I'm Carl DeMaio, Chairman of Reform California and a California State Representative. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. But before you click away, please subscribe to this channel and click that notification button so you get updated when we post new episodes. Plus, like this video and share it with your friends so that we can help spread our message across the state.